Peace, fam. Doc's back in the building to come and talk about some more history to you. And I've been doing these discussions on history because identity is very, very important to how you handle socio-political issues and economics. And unfortunately, Black Americans have been fraudulently swindled into pseudo-histories and identities, and it has put them in political identities that have wasted away their ability to have something specific done to address their remedy. A good example is during COVID, there were some incidents where Asians were attacked, and the United States Congress passed specific legislation to address the injury that those Asian Americans had suffered. There's no one on this land who has suffered more than you, yet till this day, you cannot point out one piece of legislation that was specifically tied to you, not even Juneteenth, which is a federal holiday for everybody. And so since you haven't done that or gotten that, you need to understand how you can get it. And one way you won't get it is if you allow trends to go around and they have you believing all kinds of philosophy over identity. And one of them is taking place amongst these new age Black Indians. And it is, and not only them, New Agers outside of that particular demographic are saying that this land is Tartaria, and it is the home of an ancient, very technical, highly advanced civilization. That is false. Tartaria is in what we now know as Asia, and it was the home of Eurasians, right above the Caspian Sea. All right, you can look at this map right here, and you can see Tartaria. Tartaria has nothing to do with ancient American civilizations. The other thing that is floating around is that America is ancient Egypt. America is not ancient Egypt in any way whatsoever. If you look at the writing, if you look at this writing is not African. It's not Egyptian. It is exclusively American and has no origins in Asia or Africa or Europe at all. When you look at the people in the glyph systems, look at the Shi that are here. And you see these locks. It's an up close view of it. You see the locks? These were not even hairstyles that were a part of other cultures until we disseminated those particular things to them. And so here we have the origin of this idea that this is Tartaria or that ancient America and is Egypt comes from this guy right here. He's a Mason. All right. And Swinburne Clymer wrote the book, Ancient Mystical Oriental Masonry. So I'm showing you the origin of this so you can stop saying this. All right. And on pages 23 up through 25, he starts to recount this. Now, this is in the late 1800s. So whoever brought this to you guys who are using it, took it from this Mason, brought it into an indigenous community, and have you repeating it. And you don't even know where it comes from. So this is what I mean. This is how identity gets wiped out. You think that you have to enslave people. No, you just create trends. And this is not something that's just popular with social media. This happened hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago. It is a technique of tricks. And there's a underlying, very dangerous, well, we see the outcomes, but there are more dangerous outcomes. But let me read what he says. He says, the cradle of the symbolism used in all masonry is placed by many of the best authorities in that country, which they believe was first inhabited. The plateau of Tartary. This is the Tartarian stuff coming from this guy, a white Mason. And from there transmitted to this generation by the sages of India, Persia, Ethiopia, and Egypt. So essentially what he's doing there is he's taking Eurasians, putting them as the center of the place where humanity originates, and that the mystical schools and systems were spread from there into Egypt and other places. We are not indebted to either ancient Egypt for religion or masonry, but to America. It is a fact that at Memphis, Egypt, in the pyramids, under the guidance of the kings, the mystic rites of masonry were worked many thousands of years ago. But at that time, Egypt and the continent of America were one and the same. This is foolishness and philosophy. Going into the Grand Canyon and saying Egyptian stuff was found there, absolutely false. The writers of that time had no language to describe the civilization of the She, the glyph writing, so they said what was known at the time. And so calling America Egypt is discounting the fact of the linguistics, the population of people, the culture, the religious practices, and the history of this land, by the way, which springs from your direct ancestry and not Eurasians or the current Native Americans who you find popular on reservations. We told you that they came later, and we addressed this. You can check out the YouTube video or go to Patreon. Who are the real culture vultures? The reason why this is important is because Black Americans have been charged by outside people of having no history and culture at all. And that is absolutely false. It's a result of genocide and colonization, and it's our job to teach. And we are leading in teaching the anthropology, the history of our people. Correspondingly, by getting rid of philosophy and understanding identity, we are taking advantage of all of the things specifically giving to us as indigenous people in the realm of socio-political advantages and economics. And so all of our people need to take another assessment of the gross strategy to defraud you out of your identity through Afrocentricity, Pan-Africanism, and a number of other tactics that were laid upon you by outsiders, something that you never did yourself. And the ones who began to lead that went to the institutions who were reprogramming our people not to know their indigenous history. There is a whole empire that you are missing. In the same way that Africans look at Egypt as a classical civilization of Africa to explain out the culture of Africa. The Olmec Mayan, which are misnomers, the She, is the classical indigenous civilizations that can later teach you about why we had a creek, Yamasee, and the other tribes Powhatan, that were predominant at the time. By the way, all of which were Black. So America is not a Tartarian civilization. America is not, I repeat, let me take my glasses off. America is not Egypt. That is pseudo. And so we should do better with our scholarship. And if you can't get access to the information, primary information to help you understand and see through that, come to us. We'll help you.